Hey guys, per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. So a lot has happened since the last video for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's take a look. So Bitcoin had a nice little bump up. Now last video I said there wasn't anything on the 4 hour suggesting a long. That's not going to change here. Even then, there wasn't anything maybe fundamentally that people essentially are buying now to cash in on their Bitcoin cash. If they're in cash or if they're in an alt, they're going to buy Bitcoin so they can double it. That's just the general gist of it. Most people are thinking anyway. That's probably what this was from here. Impossible to know for sure why it all happened at once. Maybe the FOMO kicked in. Just looking at candles, it looks like some small falling wedge, or just a downward channel here. Again, nothing too crazy. I was talking about this triangle thing, the point being support resistance, and we bounced from that. So here again, next triangle, you can see we bounced down from that. Not really shocked at that. So we're just stuck in this zone again, and anything that uses momentum or trends isn't going to be too valuable here because it's just sideways essentially. Yes, everything in the cloud looks bullish. TK is bullish, cloud's bullish, price is above cloud, lagging span below price. So maybe when lagging span gets above price, that's a buy signal. I'm not really in anything right now, other than just holding spot, really, no margin, nothing. We'll see what happens in a few days. I'll have more videos leading up to the August 1st thing. I'll have videos on that day. We'll talk about whatever. I might even do a live stream. We'll see. I don't see any divs, anything going on here. If we go to Heikin-Ashi real quick, nothing crazy going on. I can't even really comment on this as far as a buy, but there were 3 or 4 candles after the bottom. It's just too hard to trade that for me anyway. Volume's declining still. Overall, not really much to say other than sit and wait around for August 1st. It's either going to be a non-event event, or it's going to be a crazy event, or the network's going to halt for a little while and then it's going to be crazy a few days later. We'll see. I think Bitcoin Cash is going to go to 0. I think it's worthless. So a lot of people were asking me about that. Going back to this pitchfork, you can see there's plenty of upside, also plenty of downside, basically exactly where we should be. The other anchor point is August 20th, Bitfinex hack low. Nothing remarkable here, just sideways consolidation. There's some concern that this is a Wyckofian distribution phase where this is the top essentially of the entire trend, and from here we'll experience some downside. I think it's a little too early to talk about that or think about that, at least until the SegWit stuff, or the SegWit as well. But the Bitcoin Cash stuff clears, the SegWit stuff clears August 8th-ish. That's when the SegWit transactions will kick in. And even in November, we're going to see more shenanigans from SegWit 2x and that hard fork, which will be an actual hard fork, most likely. So there's a lot of stuff going on between now and the end of the year. Bitcoin really doesn't like Januaries. If you look at Bitcoin in January, just year over year, it's generally been not good. So I'd expect the same. I'd expect a run up till January and then a severe pullback. I don't really think the SegWit 2x stuff is going to really affect much, just like the Bitcoin Cash stuff probably won't. So like I mentioned in my Brave New Coin article, fundamentals kind of take a front seat here. I don't really think, this looks great, this triangle or this pitchfork, but there's no actionable signals here. Cloud, no actionable signals. Even on the daily, there's no real actionable signals. So fundamentals are at the forefront at the moment, and fundamentals being the network, the protocol, the infighting, the politics, the terrorism, whatever you want to call it. Alright, moving on to Ethereum on the 4 hour. Ethereum's had a real interesting event here. Potential supply shock if somebody or anybody stole this. We being the general crypto Twitter doesn't believe this to be stolen from BTCE, but it's definitely transferred, and it's been transferred in a way that US government seizures are typically handled. If you look at the Silk Road stuff, they'd send, you know, a few sats at a time, and then they send the big one. They, you know, that's sort of for them to make sure that that's the right address, obviously. You don't want to send $100 million of Ether to the wrong address. Pretty sure you'd be fired. So you can see clearly from BTC, this is Etherscan. I'll leave this in the description. But everybody's watching this and talking about this. This coupled with the seizure of the website, definitely by the feds, signals to me anyway that BTC definitely isn't coming back, in case there's any non-clarity around that issue. Okay, back to the cloud. So because of the potential supply shock, again, this is all not my favorite part of analysis because it's stuff that I can't pin down with math per se. You know, maybe the announcement went live and this jumped up. It's also at a semi-support here, just horizontal. Again, that's loose as well, but there's no divs, nothing like that going on. Volume's kind of tapering, but what we are seeing on the cloud anyway is potential for a breakout. Maybe that's too high. Don't get too excited, Twitter, Ethereum folk. Again, if I'm talking about triangles, any point on the triangle support resist. So this would be the next stop, 225. Should it return to that zone and break through the cloud? It's got a good chance. You can see there's a Kumo twist here. Overall, this is a really weird picture for the 4 hour, just like Bitcoin. It's kind of herky-jerky. Stuff's flying and then sitting. So if you're using trending or momentum stuff, it's tough to really know what's going on because it's either flat or it's up. It's like, it really confuses the indicators. It's a really better, you know, this is clearly a downtrend. You can see that. The cloud confirms that. This stuff sort of looks like the end of a downtrend, but it's also really up or down or sideways, and it's not really quote-unquote trending per se. I don't see any harmonics or anything like that. There's a potential for an Adam Eve situation. I just draw like a V and a U. And I've noticed on crypto, at least, the Eve is usually higher than the Atom. Ideally, you want to see the Eve come to the Atom, so it's basically a double bottom. But in crypto, I've noticed a lot that the Eve is actually higher than the Atom bottom, anyway. And then the targets for that, as with any pattern, you just take the resistance or support, and then the distance from the maximum, so the top or bottom, and then up from the distance or resistance or support. So you get about 300 here. Again, it's within the ledges of the cloud, but that's loose. Again, it's tough to really say. Until you get cloud signals, those would be most reliable for me, as far as definitely getting back into Ethereum if you're not in or out or whatever you're doing. And lastly, if I put on 5200 and Heikin-Ashi candlesticks, you can see the 5200 has not occurred yet, so that'd be another reason to stay out. And Heikin-Ashi doesn't really know how to handle this. You can see these are just fat candles. We did break just a mini local resistance here at 200. That's a good sign for up, but overall, again, tough to really analyze, at least the way I talk about things. Moving to Ripple next. At the 50,000 foot view, you can see we've sort of entered back to the previous all-time high zone, consolidation zone. It might just find a bottom in here, certainly reasonable based on prior activity. Volume still garbage, nothing, no divs, although RSI is really reaching down there for lows, definitely. So it's trending down, that's no secret. 5200 widening. This usually says that things are moving down quicker than previously. You know, similar to here, if 5200 is getting farther and farther apart, that signals things are getting more and more oversold. Not necessarily a reversal, but things are getting more and more oversold here. Cloud doesn't really help you any. Everything just looks like Doom City, USA, Occupation Ripple. Again, you're seeing a potential Atom left here. I think the alt sell-off based on the BCC thing definitely in play here at this zone. You know, we broke these wicks, which were capitulation wicks on their own, or a thin order book. You know, you are seeing lower lows on lower volume, so that's a div technically. You are seeing an Atom left. I'm still holding Ripple. I'm comfortable. I'm okay. I'm okay with it going to zero. Of all of the coins, I think Ripple is the least TA-able, especially when it's not trending. You know, I can TA this all day, but to see certain things like this coming, people would have told you to buy whatever. But I think more so than anything, you get an article saying a bank is working with Ripple, blah blah blah, and then boom, it just shoots up however many sats, and you were either in it or you weren't. That's my take on Ripple in general. I think it's crap, but I think I think it's going to see some upside eventually here. It's in a good zone. It's in a good buy zone, at least for me. So here's LTC Usd. Been talking about this for a few days, head and shoulders. It's looking ready to go. Again, it reversed like many of these alts have. The downside is still potentially there. I don't think it'll go as low as 19, probably around 25, something like that. Volume is low. No divs per se. There was a div here. You can see lower low. Just kidding, that's not a div. Okay, so shutting all this stuff off real quick. Just looking at the cloud, bearish in every way except the lagging span, and 5200 crossed for the first time on the 4 hour since it came back to life end of March. This is also a coin that's hard to TA. You can see it's lots of just herky-jerkiness. You can find plenty of harmonics in here, none of which sort of panned out. Maybe this one did. You know, there's something like that sort of shot up 50%. But overall, very difficult to TA LTC USD anyway. That's why I get excited when I can talk about head and shoulders, which is clearly here, volumes here, targets here, whatever. But it did reverse quite strongly after dipping down. Again, fundamentals seem to be driving all of these together with Bitcoin Cash stuff. So I'd be careful doing anything about anything in large scale until that resolves itself. Here's XLM. I'm kind of ashamed that I need to talk about this over and over again. I'm not a fan of Ripple or Stellar, that's no secret. Chart, again, it's at historic lows. It's at a zone similar to Ripple, at least the 50,000 foot view. You can see the 5200 just sinking this ship real slowly. You are getting, again, this herky-jerky stuff. Really hard to trade that, and if you're a trend trader, you're better off just staying out. Cloud is definitely bearish. There's no real signs of anything. Again, you're seeing Atom left. No divs. Volume's kind of dying off. Really not much to say about this. Until it starts to show signs of life, it's kind of not worth entering any positions in, definitely. This is certainly a viable point for a bounce. It could definitely, hit this support resistance level around 400 to 450, 470, before it finds definitive bottom anyway. Again, nothing great about this. Kind of Giraffian, if you will, or chameleon, if you will. Anytime you see that, it's usually lower lows. So we'll see how this pans out, but it doesn't look too great for Stellar. Here's NEM, which pulled a sort of will she or won't she. You can see I got really excited about the cloud last video, and then fundamentals again I think drove this down, although the technicals of resistance here drove this down as well. You can see it's again breaking out of the cloud. Again, cloud signals are bullish. You might want to wait for the 5200 here. So anyway, 5200 cross, wait for that. That's like your definitive confluence. Again, targets 7K, 10K, something like that. I still think this is good for up, barring any Bitcoin Cash shenanigans. Looks good to go. Dash on the 4 hour. Doesn't look exciting to me at all. Not really much to say. Again, 5200 cross occurring. You're getting an atom left. You're getting action below several capitulation wicks. Volume's still descending. I don't see any divs. Nothing to speak of there. Now I'm going to wait for the eve. I'd stay out of Dash if you weren't already in it. If you're in it, just hold on to it. It looks fine. Definitely not trending up or down. Again, very hard to TA this when it's not trending like this. This I can talk about. You can see nice smooth, and then it's like burp, 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 burp. It's like that's You don't trade that, you hold that, you buy and hold that. That is hard to trade. If you're trading on a margin and making money, congratulations, but not something I want to look at or trade at anyway. Then lastly, here's Berry Coin, something I left off of last video on complete accident. So again, you're seeing this atom left. It's almost like all the bots buy the same coins. You're even seeing this complete reversal, sort of a bullish engulfing, excuse me. So atom left, all these coins, just look for the Eve. So bids here are good in general. Again, descending volume, lower lows, that's a bull div for sure. No divs necessarily here. No 5200 cross happening soon, but targets are here and here. This is the 50% of this. The immediate target being back to this zone here. You can see originally I got really excited about some sort of 3 drives thing. This target's still there, it's still on the table. We'll see, 157, 0157. We shall see. Alright, that's all I have for today. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter, Telegram, and happy trading.